All righty, welcome everyone to our February 19th, 2025 System Performance Committee's regular monthly meeting. If there are panelists in the waiting area, please elevate them, and we will start off our session today with a song. Ruby, will you lead us in that?
Sure, yeah, I can do that. Thanks, Marvin. While we're waiting for people, I'll go ahead and get started on the lyrics for a song called When the President Talks to God. And it's a song by Bright Eyes from 2005. So it just seems to be relevant again. When the president talks to God, are the conversations brief or long? Does he ask to rape our women's rights and send poor farm kids off to die? Does God suggest an oil hike when the president talks to God? When the president talks to God, are the consonants also hard or soft? Is he resolute all down the line? Is every issue black or white? Does what God say ever change his mind when the president talks to God? When the president talks to God, does he fake that drawl or merely nod? Agree which convicts should be killed? What prisons should be built and filled? Which voter fraud must be concealed when the president talks to God? When the president talks to God, I wonder which one plays the better cop. We should find some jobs. The ghetto's broke. No, they're lazy, George. I say we don't. Just give them more liquor stores and dirty Coke. That's what God recommends. I'm sorry. When the president talks to God, do they drink near beer and go play golf while they pick which countries to invade, which Muslim souls still can be saved? I guess God just calls a spade when the president talks to God. Does he ever think that maybe he's not, that the voice that the voice is just inside his head? When he kneels next to the president's bed, does he ever smell his own, when the president talks to God? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruby. All righty, let's do a roll call. Alex, will you run through?
Yep. Sorry about the background noise. We have everyone in office today. We'll go through this quickly. Please say your name. Here. Tamara Bauman. Here. Sherry Tillman. Christina Height. Ruby Romero.
Here.
Emil Floresca. Marvin Futrell.
Here.
Christina Selwicki. Frank Schott. Ben is out today. Victoria Ewig Kwan.
Here.
Bella Irons.
Here.
Okay, with 5 members present and 6 members absent, quorum is not met.
Thank you. We'll keep that in mind as we advance. All righty. Thank you, everyone who has joined us today. I'd like to start off with our theory of change. If we create a homelessness response center that centers on the voices of people with lived experience of homelessness, we can focus on responding to the needs and eliminating inequities to end homelessness. The context for our group: in May of 2022, the COC Advisory Board approved the KCRHA as our lead HMIS entity, and the System Performance Committee, SPC for short, will conduct the HMIS government's oversight on behalf of the board. Next, I would like to offer a land acknowledgement to ground us for the work we will join in today. We acknowledge that we reside on the unceded ancestral home of the Coast Salish people who have reserved treaty rights to this land, including the Duwamish, Snohomish, Suquamish, Muckleshoot, Snoqualmie, Puyallup, and other indigenous people. We thank these caretakers of this land who have lived and continue to live here since time immemorial. As settlers on this land, we are aware of and strive to continue educating ourselves on the multi-layered injustices that these communities still experience. The Duwamish and other indigenous tribes were the first people to be made houseless in this region. These communities have endured not just genocide and forced displacement by settlers, but also a century-long attack on their language, ceremony, food, medicine, education, governance, and so much more. The Duwamish have been denied federal recognition by the U.S. government, meaning that they have been denied the right to establish a sovereign tribal government or possess lands protected in a protected trust. Their continued political and economical marginalization is especially apparent in the issues of housing. Today, Native people experience homelessness, cost burden, overcrowding, inadequate housing, and home loan denials at higher rates than higher rates than any other race or ethnicity here in King County. High rents and land prices push many of them to the fringes of this area, away from the community spaces and services. In the midst of this oppression, these indigenous communities have survived and are still here, fighting for their recognition and their sovereignty. Their incredible resilience is evident in the support systems they have built to combat housing insecurity and homelessness in their own communities. We are committed to becoming allies to the Indigenous-led organizations and working with them to find ways to address the past and present injustices. We humbly invite you to walk alongside us in this process in whatever way makes sense to you, whether that is learning the history, advocating for tribal political rights, or something else. We recognize that undoing such deeply rooted patterns of oppression must be a collective effort, one that involves building and nourishing a constellation of relationships. Thank you. And so the next piece, the next thing up is public comment. Alex, do we have anyone in the waiting room or who would like to make public comment at this time? Anyone on the board?
I have 0 hand raised. There are no attendees.
Okay. All righty. My normal disclaimer does not work with my present committee in which I work with, but if you do have public comment or folks join, feel free to put it in the Q&A and we will endeavor to answer them. Moving right along with our agenda, I will pass the baton to my co-chair, Bella, for some informational feedback.
Thanks, Marvin. Thanks for the land acknowledgement too. I agree with Tamara. That was really beautiful. Okay, so COC updates and work group updates, committee updates. There's been a lot of stuff in the last couple of weeks. There was a COC convening, and there was also a board retreat this last week. And there were updates at the convening, and I wanted to be able to share those. And then I'll talk about a little bit about the board retreat. So in the regular COC meeting, there were a couple of votes to stand up the charter review work group, and that was passed. Also to approve the coordinated entry Violence Against Women's Act, and that was passed. As for committee updates. We had coordinated entry that they're working on developing a collective vision and plans for their 2025 work plan. Cross-cutting policy work group. Ruby updated us, thank you. They're reviewing and editing the rapid rehousing standards with a goal to present the rapid rehousing standards to the board at the March 2025 meeting. And then the Youth Action Board, there is an update, and they just apparently had a retreat on 2/16. I don't have an update from that retreat, but they're in the discussion regarding the youth homelessness demonstration program, reallocations, and developing their charter. The NOFO, the Notice of Funding Opportunity, was also updated by Kelsey. And there were 54 projects funded and total award over $66 million. So yay, that went good. And there are a number of different things, 3 projects not renewed. So there were multiple updates with the NOFO that were provided. And then KCRHA CEO update was also provided. And they talked about the launch of the Salesforce that happened on 1/27/2025, and that there is an active bridge for the COC participating more in the KCRHA work moving forward in different regards. So that's where some of just general updates have been. We did just have a board retreat, which was amazing. And thank you to everyone and Dorsal and Ruby for the retreat. It was really wonderful to be able to get grounded in, especially as a new member, you know, the work that we have been doing, looking forward as to where it is that we want to go, all of the different ways that, you know, the systems that we're in are working, the goals and the guidelines and deadlines that we have in different aspects of them, how they interwork together, and how we can, you know, envision and, you know, hold our work moving forward and our intention to be able to be more collaborative and to have intentional interwovenness, I will say. I love that word, interwovenness, to the work that we're doing. And a lot of the different committee updates we talked about and brought to the table, where everybody is and where we're looking at, you know, different elements of our 2025 work plans, and just a really wonderful welcome invitation to continually meet with the 2 co-chairs, to do this bridging with KCRHA, to continually work to understand how we can, you know, look at the different responsibilities in the different committees and how that gets broken out, what are our goals and our guidelines around those things, how different committees are, you know, meeting those goals and the requirements, but also, like I said, interweaving them with the other committees. Really putting together like an organizational map from a business sense is what I got. And it's really, really helpful as a new person. And also just like moving forward to be able to educate others on that are new, that are coming in, that we're recruiting for the different committees and for the COC board. Yeah, so that's what I have right now. More forthcoming. Thanks.
All righty. Thank you, Bella. Like to welcome Daniel, Sherry. Did anyone else join while we were? All righty. Well, welcome. Join us. Alex, quick question. With new additions, have we reached quorum?
Sorry, Marvin, I just stepped away. No. Quorum is still
Okay,
not
thank you.
met.
All righty. Moving right along. the next thing on the agenda is Assistant Performance Committee's membership focus. This will be an hopefully informational, and I'm hoping to get back some thoughts from other board members as we move through this. Working with the RHA staff, we've have a committee member skill assessment so that we can better know what focus board members may need for additional training and information, and where our skills sets lie. So as we work through the work plan for the year, we hopefully have the right people working on the right things. I can tell you my skill assessment is low. But having been around this a while, I can identify areas in which I have grown in terms of skills and being better able to read the system plan and identify policies that are impactful to it over time. My encouragement is that everyone on the board, we will be sending it out, that they turn it around ASAP, because our goal is next month is that the committee understands the makeup of its skills, the knowledge of the SBT, the plan for the annual recruitment, and continuing our ongoing work and planning. Anybody have any questions around the skill assessment tool? I think it's a form of it's easy. Daniel, can you give folks a little bit more about the tool itself?
Yes, of course. I just want to check. Can everyone hear me okay? Is my audio coming through? Thumbs up.
Yep.
Okay, let me know if that changes. And I was having some connectivity issues, so hopefully that doesn't come back. What I want to share with you, and thank you, Marvin, for that intro, is a skills assessment. This is really important for this group. It didn't really happen last year. So we have a fresh start and an opportunity here to look at where we're all at, so that I can help bring the training and build up your skills and knowledge in the different areas that you provide oversight for, primarily our performance and the HMIS. I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully that works just fine. Okay, any feedback that you can see this? Thumbs up, an emoji, a react, anything?
Can you enlarge it a little bit?
Yeah, I'll enlarge it. I know this is going to be a little bit tiny. The key areas here that I want to focus in on are the way that this assessment is put together. When you receive this in your inbox, you're going to get a file like this. And what I'd like you to do is to fill out the committee member 1 tab. And what you're going to do is go through these different areas here, 1 through 17. There's 17 different areas. And select in the drop down whether you feel as if you're a novice, beginner, intermediate, advanced, or expert. So there's quite a range there. I'll let you decide. If I were in your position, if you're not sure if you're an expert or advanced, I would choose advanced. And here's why. That'll just give me more of an understanding of where I can get training for that area. If you think I don't really need any training, expert is a fine answer, especially if you are an expert. And here are the different areas: data analysis and interpretation, policy development and evaluation, project management, training and capacity building, governance and oversight, knowledge of homeless services, effective communication, collaborative leadership, community engagement, critical thinking and problem solving, cultural competency and equity focuses, HMIS proficiency, policy analysis tools, survey and methodology expertise, information security and privacy, data visualization. It looks like I got project management on there, an extra time. Actually, that's a placeholder. I want to show you first before I want to come back to this. What I hope to get once I compile this from all the members is a graphic that looks something similar to this, where I can see where are we really strong at and where are we needing some training. To that end, seeing the list, is there anything that the members, this is the time for feedback, the members see here could be added or maybe we're missing?
Can we just unmute?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Unmute.
Please,
Um,
unmute. Yeah.
So I love this from a linear logical sense, from a business background. This is all, very straightforward. I am feeling like there's some human component of this missing, especially because we did, as a committee, work to move forward wellness in the past. And I think that that's a real strong point, whether we classify it as an other category, because when you're asking us to self-evaluate, there are strengths within our outside of business scope that I think are really important for us. And community engagement kind of, might get there on a social level, but there are elements to a person and that are, again, I'm going to say interwoven, where there are strengths on a personal level that I think that we need to at least hold space for. That's my comment.
Thanks, Bella. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just second the need for that well-being portion. So thank you.
So can we add that, Daniel?
I gotta just show love to my peers. Thank you all. I'm celebrating over here.
No, this is great feedback. I would say if you want to provide that in an email or to the co-chairs or someone that you're comfortable with sharing that with that can get over to me, I will certainly add those into the domain or into a category.
Tamara,
Other-
can I ask if, maybe the lead camera or somebody else that has been working in this area, your thoughts, if you could share that. I mean, I'm the co-chair. I don't want to just sit here and support what I say.
Oh
Thanks.
no. Yeah, no, I 100,000,000,000% would love to lead this portion. And I'm so glad that you all lifted that up, because I was just thinking, oh, this looks great, but and I didn't even think, because I was thinking of how I could weave it into all these other areas. But because there is a way to do it, I promise you, there is a way to do it. So, but yes, I am really, really, really thrilled and happy to be part of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I guess I get to be the bad guy again. We will get this started up. For those who've attended today's meeting and you've gotten a quick preview, you probably will receive the same introductory email this is attached to from us, asking that we turn this around so that by next System Performance Committee meeting in March, we will have achieved a better understanding of our skills and knowledge and needs for training, so we can get forward with the work.
Marvin, before we move on, can I just make sure that everybody knows that it seems like we are at quorum now?
Oh, great. Alex didn't tell me that. but thank you. All righty. Next, I wanted to try to do a little housekeeping. Membership terms. It has been, we're unsure of everyone's begin date on the SPC. I don't know if those who are here now can drop their start when they think they started here in the chat. Or could we email Daniel our start dates? I admit that I am new to this committee. I've been around it for a long time, and I promise you I never tracked anyone's length of participation. I've just always been happy that those have chosen to do so. And Alex has her hand up. Alex?
Hey, Marvin. We do track people's start times, correct, Daniel? We have that in the attendance. But if you would like to send it as well, I think that that would be also helpful just to double check and make sure everything's cleared up. Thank you.
Yeah, Alex, thanks for that. I have a list of our committee members, and for some of them, I do have a start date. For others, I don't. And the risk that we run, if I don't have that accurate, is we need to, I need to make sure that we're honoring the term limits. And in order to do so, I need to know the total length that someone has served on the committee, so that if we do have an upcoming term lapse, that we can begin the recruitment process right away, so that we can maintain our committee membership. So that's the importance of it. I can send the list offline. In fact, you know, what I might do is I'll send it along with the skills analysis, so that we can be a little more efficient with our time here. I know we had a slow start. And then if you could please send me that date. If you are not sure, or you're really, really fuzzy on that, just let me know so that we can work to figure out when was the first meeting you attended. And we can get that cleared up, and it shouldn't be too hard. For some of you, I do have a date. So if you see a date, please review that and ensure that it's accurate. That's my ask. And thank you in advance.
Thank you, Dave. Any questions from the board? Righty. Next up is continuing our discussion on the Youth Action Board's representation or participation with us in this work. I have shared my thoughts with Daniel and my co-chair Bella. There's a lot of work facing the Youth Action Board around the YHDP process, and it is not often reviewed by the System Performance Committee, the youth action spaces, the youth spaces, which are part of our continuum. So I'd like to hear other people's thoughts. I'm sorry. Our conclusion was to invite a Youth Action Board member to meet with us in this meeting as a panelist. Yes, okay, but I'm looking for other ideas, information. How do we view this? Is it needed? Is it not needed? It helps us come to a better collective decision. So I'll open up the floor now. And that means everybody, staff, anybody. All can speak in hopefully at this time.
Can you repeat the question, Marvin?
Well, I'm opening the floor in discussion of how we can have YAP representation at the SBC at our regular meetings.
YAB, the Youth Action Board.
Yes.
Okay, that would be a Trayvon Fields.
So
Would be
I
a good
will-
person to start with that.
to start with.
With finding someone to come and sit and report the YAB updates. There's
Is
also
that
YAB members that might be, I'll talk to Trayvon and see if there's anyone that would have the availability to provide updates for the YAB at these meetings.
Okay. I offer what I always offer when we speak of representation from the Youth Action Board. It would be someone from the Youth Action Board. Hopefully someone who's part of the RFP process for funding that needs to be distributed across the region and can actually update the System Performance Committee of young people's experience in our system, whether or not they're caught in HMIS, whether or not the region in which they in give them access. It is hopefully to be a collaborative space, not necessarily a staff-driven one, I hope. Thanks. Is that helpful, Alex?
Yeah, he leads the Youth Action Board, so he would be the one to direct us to someone depending
Okay.
on their availability.
Daniel, are you willing to start that process?
Yes, in fact, as you all were talking, I just sent a meeting about a question out to Trayvon, asking if we can meet so we can figure out the best way to get that representation, their input on that, and then ultimately, the committee, will decide if they want a staff or if they want a co-chair, who is the best to represent the voice of that board. And yeah, I'll support that by setting up a meeting.
Thank you. All right. Any other input from the board? I can't really see anyone's faces. I know everybody's probably at work, but this is the opportunity. Going on.
I
Go
would
ahead.
just I know that you and I have had this conversation, but I would like to state to everybody else that I'm seeing this, youth participation as its distinct, community being raised up in different ways, being supported by different avenues of the COC and the subcommittees. I second this. I would like to see this hopefully be able to get moved forward if they feel, that this is something that they can regularly participate with. So anyways, thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Anyone else? Going twice? 3 times, and I will move forward with the agenda. If you want to revert back to something, please raise a hand, let us know. Up next is hopefully more discussion, or well, we're going to give some information, and then there'll be a period for discussion for the committee, for the System Performance Committee priority setting. I believe Daniel has a 2025 work plan priorities. And will lead us off in the informational portion, and then hopefully we will generate some good discussion from it. Daniel?
Thank you, Marvin. So I'm gonna share my screen here. I will acknowledge that this looks a little overwhelming at first. Please know that this is not all work that this committee is doing. The primary goal of this committee is to ensure the compliance and oversight of the HMIS lead, which KCRHA is the designated HUD HMIS lead agency. What does that mean? That we have the obligation and requirement to fulfill the mandate from HUD to do the data collection and reporting for federally funded programs that have that as a requirement. That requirement also comes from the state if they receive federal funding, and then many of our local partners, the city and the county. also put in many of their contracts a requirement to use the HMIs. So that's a little context setting. What this work plan represents is what we looked at in last December, which are all of the things that the HMIS lead agency is committed to completing. Much of this is just going to be many of the same things that we did last year. So we're maintaining the tasks that we have to do, which is me sharing with this group the findings from our federal reports. It includes that includes our housing inventory count, our point in time count, our system performance committee, and our housing inventory count. Each one of those goes about a mile deep. My hope this year is to make sure that you're all trained and understand how these federal reports work. So one of what you'll see in a lot of this is my work along with our HMIS data management team and our BitFocus team is to complete that work, complete the data collection, complete the training of providers, and then ultimately fulfill that requirement for reporting. This plan is on the website, and it's up for, I believe it's in the December one, so you can please take a look at that if you want to pull it up on your own. But what you're going to see here is a lot of those tasks just broken out for our team. Now, the work that we're going to be carrying forward, let me stop there. Any questions? From any of the members? Okay, with no questions, or let me just see if there's anything in the chat. And I am not seeing anything.
No hand raised, nothing in the Q&A.
You said there is a hand in the Q&A?
No, there's no hands up, nothing in the Q&A.
Thank you. All right. So are you passing it back to me, or is there more, Daniel? You seem to have froze.
It looks
So-
like we lost him. He's been having some connectivity issues. He'll join back
Okay.
in.
Yes. I do believe we'll give him a minute to come back. There he is.
Sorry about that. Looks like I got put it out for some reason. Yeah, so final word on that is that this committee charged with the oversight of those federal reports, so I'll be bringing that forward. That's part of the work plan. You'll see those throughout the rest of the year. We are in federal reporting season right now, so we're just completing the sheltered point in time count, the housing inventory count, and we'll be submitting the system performance committee, which is a set of 7 measures, along with the other federal reports like the LSA. And then what I want to sort of hand over now to Marvin and Bella, if you're able to unmute. I know there were some audio issues on your end. We're looking at some of the happenings at this new federal administration and trying to plan around that, as well as some opportunities that have come up that have been talked about in past meetings with HUD's open comment period, specifically on HMIS data collection. And so with that, I want to hand it over to maybe Marvin and Bella both to talk a little bit about some of the priorities that are being discussed, and then allow the co-chairs to open that up to you all. If there is any questions, let me know.
Bella, would you like to start?
Yeah. So you want we're talking about the items for our 2025 work plan, right? And the first one coming up is this deadline for HUD comments and being able to ask for a work group to be stood up and for participation in a work group so that we can diligently move forward in a very short time period because we would have to have it done by May 1st, I believe, to have the comments back for HUD. And so we're really requesting that people that are interested in this, stand forward and bring themselves forward and know that we have to have a pretty rapid pace of being able to field and put together our comments because this is a top priority right now because of that deadline. So that's the first thing, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's the first, with it being due May 1st, I think we were going to ask the board if they would create a work group to actually bring some of the board members. The issue I have now is we seem to be fluctuating. I don't think we have quorum. So a little neat trick I learned a long time ago, if it's the general consent of the folks present, then we can ask the board formally and allow our staff to work to move forward, such as setting a first meeting, sharing more information out with the rest of the board
Marvin,
about the opportunity. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Alex did just put in the chat that we do have quorum right now. So we can ask for that work group to be stood up and for members to step forward for it.
All righty. I would go ahead.
I am so sorry. I just realized that Ruby dropped off in that time, so quorum is not met again. Sorry.
Okay. So I seek the general consent of those present to move forward with the creation of a work group and allowing staff to set a meeting so that an introductory meeting.
I second that.
Of those present, if those present are okay with that, please say yay.
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 Any opposed? Please let the minutes reflect that it was the general consent of those present that we begin this process. And then we'll report back next month. And if anything formal needed, we will hopefully have quorum to do so. Daniel. Daniel?
Yes, if I could, just a few words about the goal of the work here. It doesn't come along all that often that we get a chance to give input to HUD on what we think about the data that we're collecting, whether we're collecting it in a way that actually informs in a meaningful way for you all to strategically think about our homeless response system. So I think this is a very, very valuable work group. Thank you, Marvin and Bella, for championing it and for the committee for voting to establish it. One of the things we'll need to do is develop a scope of work for the work group. And there is a template for that. So one of the first tasks of this work group is to complete this template of scope of work. And I am going to just put it out there that I'm here to help with that portion, because it can be pretty technical. And with some of the experience I bring, I can help inform some of that scoping out. Now, once that's complete, you will be challenged. This group will have a challenge. HUD does not allow us to do a joint response to the open comment. And these are some of the problems that you will solve in the committee on how to best format that. And then gather input from different collaborators and other groups. So it's really, you have a wide wingspan here to try to get a diverse collection of inputs. And that's where I think all of you can bring your networks to bear, is try to draw out as much information from the community about what we collect. And that may mean I'm going to make myself available to give, to join a meeting or to give a presentation if we need to kind of roll back and do overviews of what is an HMIS, what is this data. I'm here to support that, and I just wanted to make that known, and that there are some actual technical pieces like scope of work, and then there are some challenges, but I know this group will solve those problems. That's really it.
Can I ask for some clarification? Thank you for offering yourself, Daniel, and your experience and your expertise. I very much value it. And working with you in such a short time, I'm like very grateful. Are there any other KCRHA staff that would be able to add to this? Because, you know, like Kelsey comes to mind. She did a lot with NOFO, but I'm not sure, you know, I don't want to get into the weeds about the logistics of this. I'm just wondering, you know, are there other like staff members that could be brought into this to help with this committee, because it has to be a collective, you know, approach. And that's a lot of information gathering, in which it sounds like different KCRHA staff members are probably, you know, liaison or helping with.
Yeah, really great question. I'm going to answer it kind of at a 10,000 feet and then zoom in. At a really high level, everybody, every person has the ability to provide a comment to HUD on this topic. So if anyone has a divergent or even a convergent view, you have the ability to give that feedback, and HUD has a requirement to respond to it. If we want to create an impact larger than the sum of our parts, I would say a joint sort of form of feedback by multiple groups would be very powerful. That said, what you're circling around, Bella, is how do we ensure that KCRHA, City of Seattle, the county, our multitude of providers, and other community members who are affected by this, how do they get input? I would just hold up a mirror and say that that's going to be part of the work of this team, and in figuring out how do we draw that out from, let's say, our data management team, our analytics team at KCRHA. I know that those analysts have opinions, and we'll just figure out how we give them an avenue if they want to participate and have some joint messaging on this. And that's one of the things that this group will solve for. Does that answer that?
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
Great. Because I think one thing went missing from the KCRHA side. We've mentioned Daniel, we've mentioned Kelsey. These are names that regularly appear as faces at our times together. Faces that aren't always seen are Janelle, who is that I worked with for a long time, that really made it easy to understand the complexity when working with groups that had specific issues. Understanding the system as a whole, understanding what HUD's involvement is and where you want to direct public comment is great. And as we touch other communities, you know, I heard that we could bring folks in to help a new community understand, or a new group of people to understand what their comments values were and how to present one. I also know I see from time to time in little boxes on here, folks from that do the HMIS work directly for it. So there's no shortage of answers if we have questions. We just need to ask questions. And Alex, how can I help?
Hey Marvin, Janelle is actually here and I just promoted her to a panelist. So Janelle, feel free to unmute.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening to the conversation and I'm hearing what you're saying and I'm like also messaging Daniel of like some other capacity that we could do internally here. So I'm working on it as you are talking.
Thank you so much. Instant response.
Thank you. Thank you for
to
joining,
see you.
Janelle. And thank you for Alex promoting.
Sorry, I didn't mean to creep in the background. I just
Okay, I
listening in.
appreciate it.
Nice.
Happy
So-
to join.
And we are at, is there any more discussion related to the startup of a work group for the Hub open comment period? Hearing none, I am going to take this time to take a break. It's on our agenda. We'll start a couple minutes early. Everybody enjoy the 3 minutes extra, and we will resume at 3:05. Alex, you had your hand up? I'll hang on for a minute.
Sorry, that was a thumbs up.
That was a thumbs up. Gotcha. All right. Hey, Ruby. Thanks for coming back. You're up next right after the break.
For what?
We're going to work on a recommendation
Okay, sounds good.
through the Continuum of Care Board. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here too. Sorry about being gone for a second.
I know words. Hey, it's the smack middle of everybody's work day. So,
Cool. Thanks for letting me.
all righty. Well, hello, everyone. As folks come back, just let me know that you're on. Thumbs up, pop on camera real quick. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Victoria. Hey, Bella. All righty. Alex, are you ready to move forward?
Yep, go for it. I'm here.
All righty. I am reconvening our regular meeting. Hope everyone had a great break. Next up on the agenda is a conversation started last month that we hope to continue this month, and it's around the point in time count. The goal here is to vote either to recommend a PIT unsheltered planning subcommittee recommendation to the Continuum of Care Board. The topic being the unsheltered PIT subcommittee, forming a 2026 subcommittee and developing a focus for the subcommittee. So I will open up the floor. I'll start with Bella. Is there anything that I missed as we start this discussion?
I don't think so. Thank you, Marvin. Sorry, it's loud here.
So I will move that we recommend that the Continuum of Care Board establish a unsheltered PIT subcommittee.
I second that.
Right. I will open the floor for discussion. And I believe we have board members here. If they would like to also add to discussion, please feel free to do so. I see Ruby's hand up, Tamara's hand up, and Alex. So Ruby?
Cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for having this discussion today. I do sit on the Continuum of Care Board as the co-chair, so I would think that this is a good idea to recommend to the full board. It's important to get planning on this quickly, and so the sooner the better. I love that. And yeah, I think it's important to do the unsheltered planning because it is such a unique population to try and get in touch with, or there's so many different unique populations to try and get in touch with. So I thank you for, bringing this to the System Performance Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Tamara?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to remind folks of capacity, and also we're really trying to recruit more participation from the larger membership. So standing up more committees, while awesome, and I support it, I don't want it too much of the work to fall on just a few shoulders, who have to carry that workload. So if we can really develop a strong plan to bring in more people to support that work, that effort, I think everything and everyone will be better off because everyone will have skin in the game, I guess you could say, or investment in making that work go forward.
Thank you, Tamara. Victoria?
Yeah, I just had a question as to, is the proposal that the SPC communicates to the COC board that we think that the COC board should form a subcommittee composed of COC board members? Or would it be open to other individuals?
It would be opened, and I won't speak to how the board may do it. One option is that one or two board members be part of it, 3 or 4 members from the wider community of members of the Continuum of Care, and maybe even bringing in some providers and other experts in the field around the unsheltered pit. As Ruby elevated, was it is a unique population and it differs. Unsheltered people experiencing homelessness across the continuum, face have different complexities when trying to either data collect or receive input from. Was that helpful, Victoria?
Yeah, it definitely was. And I guess that this is just different from business as usual in that typically KCRHA is responsible for the planning of the unsheltered pit, and this would be sharing that responsibility, or?
Well, then that I can answer too.
Okay.
The KCRHA was a startup, as was its original Continuum of Care. The Continuum of Care lacked the capacity to establish a subcommittee and asked its lead collaborative agent to conduct the pit count. We successfully did 2. And it has, in of it itself, not fully complete, established methodologies, work parameters, and are we capturing the needs of our community? There are questions around that I do believe we don't have the capacity to always dig into, but they still exist. It would hopefully be the focus of an unsheltered pit subcommittee to develop these focuses within our continuum. And that work is normally led by the Continuum of Care Board. The subcommittee is a standard subcommittee of that board. It just hasn't been used in that fashion yet.
Yeah. If it's okay, I can hop in really quick and
Yeah.
provide a little bit more. So I believe this is correct when I say that the point in time count falls under the COC planning portion of the funds. And so like the point in time count would be collaboratively between the COC and their lead agency and the HMIS lead or the collaborative applicant and the HMIS lead. So it's kind of like we're all kind of hanging out together and doing it together. And this is just our full, I think this would be like the culmination of that effect.
Alex, did you want to offer?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize my hand was up.
Gotcha.
Please ignore me.
Yep. Okay, Bella? Anything else to add?
No,
That's fine. So do we still have quorum, guys?
Give me 1 second. I'm counting 5 board members.
So we do not.
Oh, 6. No, we have 6. Go ahead.
Is 6 quorum? Yes, thanks, Bella.
Yes.
Okay, we'll call for a vote if there's no further discussion.
Actually, I have one more follow-up question building off of what Victoria asked. Is this a subcommittee of the or is this a subcommittee of the System Performance Committee, or is this a subcommittee of the full board as a whole? Okay, great. And the way we could incorporate membership would be through like advertising it to the membership, correct? Yeah, okay. And yeah, cool, thanks, that's all. Thanks for clarifying.
Sorry, and
Yeah.
just to piggyback off of what Ruby said, really promote the crap out of it. Like really, and whatever incentives or mutual aid things to really spark people's interest to participate, because it's super fun, like doing things in community when you don't have crippling social anxiety. Yeah, I just think this is really how you build a movement and make change. So I think this is brilliant, and I want to participate.
Bella? And then
Thanks, Tamara.
Janelle.
Yeah, thanks, Tamara and Ruby. I seek Daniel's advice. I think Daniel's still in here, and or Alex, what to communicate with us at the very onset if we do vote to stand this up, for what all of the different communication avenues are, so that we can ensure that we get this out there, to membership. Thanks.
Janelle?
Yeah, thanks, Marvin. And one thing that would be really important if you guys do decide to vote to start this is that what I would be very helpful is for Daniel and maybe the System Performance Committee leads to really think about what the roles and responsibilities would be for this committee, and just to be really, really clear of who has who can decide on things, and like who is informing or helping to provide advice. Because a lot of the methodology and the pieces that we have put in place are with the UW. And so I just don't want people to be like, yes, we're going to collect all this information and we're going to do a great job. And them be disappointed that like maybe that's not totally exactly what we'd be asking them to do. But it would be more of like they would be leading this project for us. We would be like the executors of the project, if you will. And then and helping to provide that analytical framework. But there are some pieces that it would be good to get some community feedback on, especially when it comes to subpopulations and like where we should be setting up locations. It would be good to have some advice from the community, but at some pieces, like KCHA would have to, like, if we're executing it, have to make like the call on some of those pieces, but like maybe setting up, reviewing our hub site checklist for how we decide on those hubs would be something this committee could be doing. You know what I mean? So, so before advertising it, maybe we could spend some time making sure that that's put in place.
Thank you, Janelle, and I'm glad that you shared. I want to make sure that we understand what we are doing as this performance committee today. We're simply recommending to the Continuum of Care Board that they stand up a PIT subcommittee. It is within their purview to do so. We are just simply acknowledging that this is an opportunity for that work to take place. And if we approve the recommendation, it would move forward to the Continuum of Care Board, where all of this expert knowledge around how we have accomplished our point in time counts, hopefully will get shared with that board so that they make the decision that works best for them. We can't make anyone do anything. What we can do is recommend, be available if they would like more context from either the SPC, RHA staff, or what that might look like. Does that help?
Thank you for that clarification, Marvin.
Okay. Other questions about the recommendation? All right. We don't have a quorum, Daniel, so I don't know if we can actually vote on making the recommendation this month, which other than, I don't even know if we can get a general consent to simply share this with the Continuum of Care Board, or if we.
I think we have 6. I think we have 6 and 6 is quorum.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Alex, would you roll call for a vote? Please vote yes if you wish, if you like the recommendation to move forward to the Continuum of Care Board. Please vote no if you do not. So, Alex, roll call.
Just to clarify, so we're voting to recommend this to the COC board to stand up the subcommittee for the PIT count.
Unsheltered Planning Subcommittee.
Okay.
Or a PIT Unsheltered Planning Subcommittee. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. Please say your vote when I call your name. Tamara Bauman.
Yes.
Okay, Sherry Tillman.
Yes, sorry. I pushed it. Yes.
All good, thanks. Christina Height. Here. Ruby Romero.
Yeah, approved.
Emil Floresca. Marvin Petrell.
Yes.
Christina Sawicki. Okay. Here. Frank Schott. Victoria Ewig-Kwan.
Yes.
Bella Irons.
Yes.
All right, with 6 yeses, the motion is passed.
Thank you very much. All righty. We are moving well today. Up next on our agenda, we're going to continue a discussion that we had earlier in this meeting. We have enough folks now that we can actually make a true decision on. So it's HMIS data standards. There is an open comment period. to create a plan for submitting comments to HUD, HMIS data standards, identify and gather input from our external partners throughout the continuum, review potential impacts of any new HUD guidance on local data collection and reporting, and recommend policy if advised. We already know there are so many impacts to what we're about to be doing coming right down the pike. Provide open comment guidance for a maximum impact of the entire continuum. I believe we're really wanting to capture the regional approach in which we have decided to address homelessness in our region. The stated goal is to provide comment to HUD on HMIS data standards that further improves our continued data collection to meet and measure outcomes set by our 5-year plan to end homelessness. The discussion we had earlier led us to general consent of forming a work group to take on this task. That work group would be tagged to the System Performance Committee. We would look for members, board members to join and help recruit folks to this, for me, exciting opportunity to speak to HUD of what challenges are actually being faced in our community. And I'll open the floor.
Hi. I think this might be a question for Daniel, and I'm sorry if there was other hands. I don't have access to the chat right now. Daniel, would this be something like where we could comment on the metrics, do you think? Or is this is the scope pretty specific?
Yes, so this is a time for us to give feedback to HUD on not metrics. Yes, we can get into metrics, but really the questions they have us ask each individual going into a housing program or shelter, that list of assessment questions, if you will, I call them data elements or data points, to look at that, evaluate those. Are they specific enough? Are they too broad? There's a couple of dimensions that you can look at that, and that's what the scoping of the work group would hone in on, is what specifically do we want to comment on. For example, KCRHA in the past was the lead and continues to be the lead in collecting tribal affiliation in the HMIS. So we took the local step to do that and ask that question, and that also of language as well. So a lot of times you'll see that Seattle King County, KCRHA, we tend to be in the lead, not the lag on these things. And so really this is a time to look at all of the things that we're collecting and see whether or not it's working for us and it's getting us meaningful information. The other part, and I'm glad Janelle's on the call here, is we know that there are things changing at the federal level, and this is an opportunity to look at all that data and to figure out what we want to ensure continues to be collected as we move forward in any policy development that we want to do, create any guidelines that enshrine what we're doing. So it's kind of a two-part. It's the data collection. You can talk about things like performance and data protection and give that feedback to HUD. And then also the end product of this is likely going to be some sort of policy that enshrines that data collection for us locally.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that.
That
Tammy?
I'm so excited. I'm geeking out like really hardcore over here. So thank you. I want to definitely participate. And I'm gonna have to weigh my priorities, but I think I really love this idea of being able to share feedback with HUD, especially when it's around things that have not been tried before. and that really should be considered as part of the strategy to end, homelessness and other social issues, social justice issues. So I really love this opportunity, and I definitely want to be involved in whatever way I can. So let me be the first volunteer.
Thanks,
Tamara,
Tamara.
thank you for that nerding out. I'm like over here like head wagging like a bobbing doll. Thank
Yes,
you.
solidarity and nerdiness. I love that.
And Tamara, I'll just say also, all your work on the well-being metrics, that you can bring to bear on this open comment period.
Yes, yes.
Others? I hope I can see all hands. All righty. Well, we had a lot of discussion earlier, so I will move that we form a subcommittee, a work group. I'm sorry. Don't blow my words right out the water. A work group to develop comment for public. What do we call it? Somebody help me.
Yeah,
A work group. Say again, Daniel.
To produce feedback for the HUD's open comment period on HMIS data standards.
yeah,
Did
I
you get
second
that,
that.
Alex? Thank you, Ruby. Alex, did you get that? The motion?
I'll put it in the chat.
I did. Thank you so much.
Okay, great.
Marvin,
Yes.
since the question came up before and we clarified it, I just want to be able to reiterate, this is a work group under Systems Performance Committee.
Yes. Thank you. Alex, you give us a roll call?
Yes, just a second. Sorry, I'm trying to keep muted because there's like 20 people standing near my desk.
Full house.
Okay, when I call your name, please state your vote. Tamara Bauman,
Yes.
Sherry Tillman,
Yes.
Christina Height, here, Ruby Romero.
Yes,
Thanks. It's not here. Marvin Cottrell,
Yes.
Christina, Frank, Ben, not here. Victoria Iwakwan,
Yes.
and Bella Irons.
Yes.
Right, motion is approved with 6 yeses.
Thank you very much. That takes us to Daniel. Do you have an opportunity to share with us the HMIS 2024 Unsheltered Pit report?
Yes, I'm pleased that Janelle is here on the call. I am not sure if she's still there, but Janelle, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, I was hoping to have a little bit more to share, or the report to share with you guys today. I'm actually just working on the conclusion right now, finishing that up. What I can share with you is we have analysis completed for the report. The report is going to include an executive summary, everything about, our people who participated, our partners. There will be some background information about how we collected the race and ethnicity and gender data, for example, and having all those definitions for people. We have the methodology, so how we conducted it, what the hub sites look like, what the seating looked like, accounting for deduplication, all of those are in here. We have a section on data collection, so how we set up all the hubs, how we did the training, how we did the organization of all of the logistics is going to be in there. And then we have the results section, which is super exciting. So we divided that into different sections. So we did analysis for the sheltered and the unsheltered. What's pretty cool about that is because we were a little bit delayed in getting our analysis back from the researchers, that gave us time for the AHAR to come out. And so then what we did is that we also put our data in context with all of the other COCs. And so then that way we can compare our percentages of increase of homelessness, increase in chronic homelessness to larger COCs. Question?
I'm sorry, Janelle, can you repeat that piece that you just mentioned about something else coming out and then
Oh, the AHAR.
describe what that is? Yeah, thank
I
you.
can put that in the chat, but that basically, all the COCs were just one COC, submits all their federal reports to HUD, including the unsheltered point in time count. So that got submitted to HUD and the sheltered point in time count. And then they put all of this data in one report and report on all of their trends. So we can see then trends of, we can compare ourselves to Chicago and Denver, and, however we want to do it. It's all available. And so we were able to kind of take a look at that and kind of compare ourselves between like similar size COCs and all of those. So we were able to do some pretty cool analysis on there to kind of help with that. Like, yes, there's an increase in Seattle and King County, what that kind of looks like, for other similar size COCs. And so I think that helps to kind of balance things out with some of the rhetoric that we've been kind of hearing here in our community. And so you'll see that kind of fits with other kind of trends. And what's pretty cool about doing that is because our methodology is dramatically different than what other COCs are doing. However, when we compared, race, all of the different measures, they were tracking pretty similarly, which then helps to just create some more validity for our methodology if it's also showing the same trends of people using different methodologies. So we were excited to see that kind of come through as well. And so we were able to speak to that. And then we did, yep,
What does AHAR stand for?
Daniel.
Longitudinal Systems Analysis. It was called the AHAR and it is now the LSA.
Oh, okay.
But to Congress, it's still the AHAR.
It's the congressional report. I would recommend, as you guys as System Performance Committee, if you haven't read that report, I would recommend putting that on your read list. Okay, then the subpopulations. And so we have the data by all the subpopulations. So we did chronic homelessness, veterans, unaccompanied youth, vehicle residents and refugees. Then we have all the race and ethnicity, ethnic identities. What was kind of cool about this one is that often it's like, this is the number of people reporting this race. This is the number of people reporting this race. Well, we dove deeper in here because we felt like you should probably look at like a group of race, like say Black African American, and then look at their age and chronicity and health disparities within that racial category. Because it just seems like, yeah, but like there's differences within that group. You should probably look at those too. So we went ahead and did that in this report too. Bella?
Yeah, can I make a request in, being data oriented, but also very much communication and transparency oriented. If we're going to make references to documents and recommendations to review them, can we get the links up either on the agenda or from the meeting's minutes afterwards so that we have a direct reference to things that are being brought up in the meetings? I'd appreciate it. I think other people would too, especially if they're watching recordings back, that they know they can keep coming to our systems performance committee, site, and they can see exactly what it is that we're discussing. Thank you.
Totally. And like, I was hoping, and it is going to be in the full report. All the references will be in that as well. And so when you're reading through our report, it will reference back to the AHAR, and then you can compare those two. And then I'll get that into the chat for you guys, so you can have that. So do apologize for that comment there. Any other recommendations? Is this helpful for me to kind of go over the outline of what to expect? Should I keep going?
Yes.
Okay.
Very helpful.
Okay. Because what I was kind of thinking is that I'd finish up going over what's going to be in the report, and then kind of go over like how we want to kind of present the report to the community, because I would like to give you guys it first, and be able to send out the copy so you can look at it, and then it would be finalized. Like I wouldn't be making any changes, but like you could at least have it first before we do like a press release or anything like that. So I want to talk about that because I need to know what to do here. Okay, let's see, where was I? Did we talk about the subpopulations? Yes. Oh yeah, and then the racial and ethnic identities, talked about those. Oh, and then the subregions. So then each subregion then gets a small result discussion section, and then goes into all of those areas that we talked about, Bella.
I'm sorry to keep raising my hand here. It's just prompting what you're talking about. So many questions. If we're getting the report first, to backtrack here for a second before we move on, I appreciate that in preparation for it being, publicly posted. Is there any discussion or any review points that we should really be considering with you prior to it being posted, in an attempt to field any comments or questions or anything? Do we need to consider anything like that? Is there normally a discussion period for the committee or for any party prior to a posting of a major report like that? Thank you.
Well, we're kind of building it as we go, Bella. So I'm open to recommendations. This is our first time releasing a major report. And so I have like a communications plan that we're working on. And so that is something that we can definitely do. I think there will be some companion documents with this report, which would be, we're going to put together talking points and then also put together like a slide deck. And I think what it would be helpful from the committee, I don't know, but like talking points around the report, I think would be good because it's a lot of information. It's like 130 plus pages of information, because as we were writing it, it was like there's like 5 reports or more within this one, because as we kind of keep going to the different ways that we wanted to present the information, it kind of opened up another section where we were like, well, we need to make sure this is covered. I think that would be where it would be good, is like those talking points, because subregions is like, there's a lot of conversations about just subregions and why we don't have this or why don't we have that. We have some the FAQs are in the bottom of the document in the appendices, so that's there. But then, like, I think we'll also create some talking points, and so that might be where
I
we could-
apologize. I'm asking this. Thank you for that. And I agree on minimally talking points. Because when a report like this is being published, I'm not sure historically, how the press receives this and or if this starts circulating, in other committees and such. And so being able to disseminate that information down to what are the strongest,
Yeah.
anchors for being
Yeah.
able to communicate that in case there is any questioning or just a process around it, understanding how you're going to move forward with the communication to the public. I think
Yeah,
it's
I
just
can
really
move that.
important. And I think it would be really important for Dorsal and Ruby. I don't want to speak towards that, but at least for me as a co-chair on a subcommittee, I want to be able to have a breakdown of minimally, like I said, those talking points, and I really appreciate it. Just in case, there is information that we need to field in some regard. And like I said, I just don't know how this has gone before. So thank you for that
Yeah, I
clarification.
mean, we're kind of building it as the process as we go. And so I'm hoping that we can kind of come up with something that we can then use for 2026, or other, analysis that comes out of our department, because like you guys are going to be asked these questions, right? Like people are going to be asking you as members of the System Performance Committee. So I need to make sure that you guys know how to talk about this. And so I'd rather make sure that that's set up good before we just kind of be like, well, post it on the website, so we could do different things, like maybe we do like a table read, or maybe people want to get together and kind of discuss it, or, I'm open
Thank you,
to
Janelle.
whatever.
The first thing I was going to say is don't hand me talking points. Where do we create those talking points together?
Yeah, I would love some help because I
That's
don't
the
know
way
how it's
that
going to be
I feel.
received for the community. Like,
And it's good for the System Performance Committee to see we're still building the aircraft we're flying. It has never been done. We are doing it, and it's the trial and error part that I look forward to because we can only improve.
yeah. So I'll leave it up to you guys. I'm open to whatever. If you want to come in, we can dive into the report. We can, whatever you guys would want. But as you can see, like as I'm kind of going through the outline, like there's a lot of data. There's a lot of really cool data that really kind of points to some of the conversations that I hear happen in these different boards and committees, that I think can really, strengthen some of the work that you guys are doing in other areas, which is kind of the whole point of this report. Oh, and then we had some supplemental questions, which were pretty cool, about like what people would, we asked like, okay, so if you would design a shelter, like what would be something you would be important for you? Um, and so, and that was kind of open-ended, and we were able to kind of collapse those into categories. So that was really interesting to see similar themes across all populations, age, they're like, we just really want, an accessible, safe and clean place to go to. And it was like, yeah, we should probably make sure that we build safe and accessible and clean places for people. They also agreed on that. So, and then we have a glossary, your typical, then we'll have the conclusion, some limitations, conclusion, and then recommendations, which is what I'm hoping that the zoo pit committee can kind of like, okay, so they're obviously, so their second year doing this, there's a number of things that we found that we could improve upon, as some things that we're hoping that we could do differently. And so that would be where I'm hoping like a committee could kind of dive into that a little bit more and like be like, okay, yeah, we tried this, like, and there's certain areas that like we couldn't get all the data that we wanted to. So that would be, how can we improve it to get more of that data, you know what I mean? So those things. Yeah, Bella?
And since we just stood up, work group to be able to get ahead of, the next round of
Mhm.
data sourcing, I'm just wondering like how much of this can help inform that, work group.
Oh, it will
Ye-
be immensely helpful because
Yeah.
we did, that's why it's kind of long, is because we wanted it to be able, if another community, say, Portland or whatever, we're like, hey, I want to see what King County did, and I want to see like how the whole methodology. So, and the data collection piece, that's all in there. And so then that, like, whoever is doing that committee work, then I would recommend that they take that, because we put volunteer job description, what each volunteer did, and, put all of that in there. So it would be like a complete document. And that's why it's so long. But that's why I think you could take this, we can make smaller digestible things from it, from people. But this is just like the main one, but that we wanted to make sure we had like one complete document. And then I'm hoping we have this done now. And so you could then potentially use that for 2026 as like how you want to do your analysis. So it won't take us as long because we've learned a lot about, the analysis part of it and what pieces that we need to produce the report and how we need the data to be structured. So a lot of that was like a lot of work this year of getting this all organized, which is we're just finishing up the conclusion. So I want to get this turned over to you guys. My team they're done. I'm having them work on starting on other projects. So we're to the point of like turning it over to you guys to start combing through it.
Well,
Thank you.
I'm really appreciative of it. And it seems like the timing is perfect to be able to have, such a robust foundation within now just even in this meeting, standing up like the next version of it so that there is that,
Mhm.
transferable knowledge sharing right now. And there does not have to be a gap in time, to be able to move items forward that have been learned. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Awesome.
Thank you.
So I'll turn that back over to you, Daniel and Marvin.
All righty. Daniel, anything to close out with?
Yeah, just two things. I just want to say, Janelle, um, we're really thankful. I'm really thankful to have you in this community and the work that the team, the HMIS team, excuse me, Community Impact team has put the work into this. And with your leadership, we were able to get to this conclusion and couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much, Janelle.
Thank you, Janelle.
Team
Thank you,
effort,
Daniel.
guys. Team effort.
Teamwork
And then
make dream work.
And then the other point I just wanted to make, for those of you that might seem a little confusing, we did submit our federal report to HUD on these figures. That was completed on time and was done already. This is really just the more comprehensive follow-up unsheltered report.
Thank you.
And, sorry, the question for the co-chairs and Daniel is sort of like, if you guys let me know what you guys want to do to start reading through this and to doing the talking points. I'll have some that I'll put together, and then it would be good to get you guys to kind of do that in like a release date and stuff like that, because that what do you guys want to do?
Lunch at the deli, work at the KCRHA. Look, Mom, easy. So thank you very much. I think that's all going to be very helpful. Bella, anything in closing?
Thank you for the invitation. I almost want to, I mean, not almost, but I want to put it back to the subcommittee, because I don't see just us wanting to know or to establish what these talking points are. I want everybody to, feel like they're available to understand this data deeper, and contribute and be a part of, how we're collectively presenting something or answering questions. I'm obviously going to be there. But I want to make sure that, that I clarify that I feel like everybody, in the systems performance committee would want, if they want to and they have the time to be able to engage in this process with us too. So thanks.
Well, that helps me with my review of today's meeting. For the board, there are several things that are taking place. First is we'll be sending out an assessment tool that we'll be asking folks to return back to us as soon as possible. And we have made a recommendation to another board. While we share some members, it's always encouraged that if we support our recommendations when they go. So attendance to the next COC meeting, which is in 2 weeks, I would highly recommend that folks make time for. And we have started a new work group. Please keep your eyes open. Daniel, I believe, will be sending out an emails for our startup meeting or gather up meeting so we can get to work on that. Last but not least, the best way you can participate is always being in attendance. Second way is reading. There was a lot of information requested. There's a lot of information posted. Please take time between meetings to scan the data and give questions. There is a planning meeting every Monday at 9:30. Anything that Bella and I receive, we bring up and try to work through or source through. It is very helpful if the direction in which we are trying to establish is driven by the board members themselves. So I can only ask that you either reach out to us or call us or let us know what it is you would like to see. With that, are there any closing comments from board members? Well, I am always happy to give folks a few minutes, even at the very least, back to their day. I want to thank the staff that joined us. Janelle, thank you very much. Lots of information shared. Alex, thank you for your continued vigilance over our meeting, taking minutes, taking notes, taking votes. And Daniel, it looks like we got more work to do. So, all right, at this time, it is 3:55. I will close our regular meeting for the System Performance Committee for February 19th, 2025. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Everyone.
everybody.
Marvin, I love the minutes, taking minutes, notes and
You-
votes. That was good.
Hey, somebody got to do it because I wouldn't remember all of them.
Oh, it's recorded. I've stopped taking forward minutes. Now it's just the title and who spoke. And if you want to know more, you watch the recording.
You watch the video.
I'm like, I can't type 4 hours of notes every month for each meeting. I'm like,
Well, we
can't
don't do 4-hour meetings anymore.
Oh, no, I would type them up during the meeting and then I have to spend another 2 hours rewatching to make sure everything was added. So luckily we don't have to do that anymore. So our notes are a lot more brief, but yeah, I'm glad
I
for
don't
that.
think, well, I read to see what is missed and we're not missing anything. So whatever
Yeah.
process
Yeah.
works.
Yep. All right. I'll
All
talk to you
right.
soon. Good to see
Are you going to
everyone.
come have lunch at the deli with us when we come by and look at our Janelle's report?
If
Should
I'm
we
in office, I still have my crazy restrictive diet. So
Oh,
I'm living off of vegetables and rice and fish, so. But yeah, let me know if you guys are when you're coming in and I'll see if I can make it.
I think probably sometime next week. Because, yeah.
Cool, sounds good. All right, we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.